Hey guys, so I'm reading the Bible, and it's truly crazy work that the amount of attitude. I'm about to have a snack while I read as well. They're mini, so they don't count as bad. Anywho, as I mentioned before in some of my other videos, I am starting to read the Bible like straight from the beginning. And because I've never read this Bible front and back, plus I have never really read the Bible like that, or I think the only book I know is Habakkuk, and that's because I had this study guide Bible, like this study book that was focused on Habakkuk. Give me one second. If I wash it down with water, it's a little bit more healthier. Anyways, I am now on chapter 5 of Genesis, but the attitude that Cain had in chapter 4 is wild. It's like crazy work. Listen to this. So, chapter 4, verse 8 of Genesis says, "Now Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, 'Where is Abel your brother?' He said, 'I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?'" Having an attitude like that with God is crazy work. Mind you, yes, I have definitely had an attitude in my days, and like maybe not so much like been in God's face like that, but I definitely have, been like, "God, leave me alone, don't talk to me," type thing, which is crazy work too. I'm telling y'all, when we're in our sin, the things we do and the way we think and how we act to stuff is crazy work. But yeah, I have been reading all this. I started with, I believe, chapter 3. I'm on chapter 5, like I said. I'm just astounded by the amount of attitude. Because when you guys really think about who God is, how dare we give him attitude? But yeah, I'm eating all this up. And this is if I'm being honest with you, I forgot where I left off. But yeah, let's read the Bible together, shall we? Get this. So Adam, I'm on chapter 5, and the title is The Family of Adam. Adam lived to be 930 years old. Can y'all imagine living 930 years old? Not I. Seth lived 105 years and begot Enosh. And after he begot Enosh, Seth lived 807 years and had sons and daughters. So all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And then you think about it, like nowadays, the way we age, right? We get like wrinkly and stuff like that. We get like very fragile by like, not everybody, but like most elders, they start going through it already by like 60 to 70. You don't really hear people making it to 100 as much anymore. I mean, it's a blessing when they do, but you just don't hear it as much anymore. Like now people are dying really early on. But to live until 912 years or 930 is wild. I continue. Enosh lived 90 years and begot Canaan. After he begot Canaan, Enosh lived 815 years and had sons and daughters. So all the days of Enosh were 905 years, and he died. So I'm wondering, because it says that they've had multiple kids afterwards, right? Nobody's living that long anymore. Canaan lived 70 years and begot Mahalalel. So Canaan was 70 years when he got Mahalalel. 70 years. After he got After he begot Mahalalel, Canaan lived 840 years and had sons and daughters. So all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. Mahalalel lived 65 years and begot Jared. After he begot Jared, so Mahalalel was 65 years old when he begot Jared. After he begot Jared, Mahalalel lived 830 years and had sons and daughters. So all of the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and then he died. Jared lived 162 years and begot Enoch. After he begot Enoch, Jared lived 800 years and had sons and daughters. So all the days of Jared were 962 years, and then he died. Enoch lived 65 years and begot Methuselah. After he begot Methuselah, Enoch walked with God 300 years and had sons and daughters. So all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Peep how it doesn't say that he died. Interesting. I'm going to highlight that. Methuselah lived 187 years and begot Lamech. After he begot Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years and had sons and daughters. So all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. You see how this one ends, and he died, but not Enoch. Lamech lived 182 years and had a son, and he called his name Noah, saying, "This one will comfort us concerning our work and the toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord has cursed." After he begot Noah, Lamech lived 595 years and had sons and daughters. So all the days of Lamech was 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Chapter 6. Now it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. And the Lord said, "My spirit shall not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the... When the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them, those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord was sorry that he had made men on the earth, that he was grieved in his heart." You know how bad y'all have to be for the Lord to be sorry that he made you guys? Like, don't quote me, because maybe my head's translating something different. But you know how bad that has to be for God to be like grieved in his heart. Like, that's sad. God was grieving in his heart. So the Lord said, "I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping thing and birds of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them." But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Praise God for Noah. This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a just man, perfect in his generations. Noah walked with God. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. So God looked upon the earth, and indeed it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. It doesn't say some flesh, it says all. So, you know, for people who are like me, who are like, what about the innocent ones? It says here, all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. And God said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and outside with pitch. And this is how you shall make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. You shall make a window for the ark, and you shall finish it to a cubit from above, and set the door of the ark in its side. You shall make it with lower, second, and third decks. You see, God knew I couldn't be Noah because I'm terrible at math. So, and behold, I myself am bringing flood waters on the earth to destroy from under heaven all flesh, in which is the breath of life. Everything that is on the earth shall die. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall go into the ark, you, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you. And every living thing of all flesh you shall bring 2 of every sort into the ark to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female, of all of the birds after their kind, of animals after their kind, and of the birds after their kind, of animals after their kind, and of every creeping thing of the earth after its kind. 2 of every kind will come to you to keep them alive. And you shall take for yourselves of all food that is eaten, and you shall gather it to yourselves, and it shall be food for you and for them. Thus Noah did, according to all that God commanded him, so he did. Then the Lord said to Noah, come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. You shall take with you 7 each of every clean animal, a male and his female, 2 each of animals that are unclean, a male and his female, also 7 each of birds of the air, male and female, to keep the species alive on the face of all the earth. For after 7 more days I will cause it to rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and I will destroy from the face of the earth all living things that I have made. And Noah did according to all that the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters were on the earth. Wow. So Noah, with his sons and his wife and his sons' wives, went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of clean animals, of animals that are unclean, of birds, and of everything that creeps on the earth, 2 by 2 they went into the ark to Noah, male and females, and God has commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, on that day all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the same day Noah and Noah's sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of the sons with them entered the ark. They and every beast after its kind, all cattle after their kind, every creeping thing that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. And they went into the ark to Noah, 2 by 2 of all flesh, in which is the breath of life. So those that entered, male and female of all flesh, went in as God has commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. I have little notes in this study Bible that I have. Extreme Teen Study Bible, New King James Version. See this one? So they have little notes sometimes, so I'm just reading them. Now is Genesis chapter 6, verse 14. The ark Noah built was about the size of a modern-day cruise ship, about 1.5 football fields long. The word ark does not mean boat, it means chest or box. I didn't know that. Chapter 7, verse 17 says, Now the flood was on the earth 40 days. The waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. The waters prevailed and greatly increased on the earth, and the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly on the earth, and all the high hills under the whole heaven were covered. The waters prevailed 15 cubits upward, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died that moved on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, and every man. All in whose nostrils was the breath of the spirit of life, all that was on dry land died. Interesting, because I don't see, that's always something that I wondered, like, if God wiped out every living thing, does that mean like in the ocean? But it says here, all flesh died that moved on the earth, birds, cattle, and beasts, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life, all that was on the dry land died. So he destroyed all living things which were on the face of the ground, both man and cattle, creeping things, and bird of the air. So I don't think it was anything that was in the ocean, which is a good thing to think about when, people bring up like scientific thing, like, oh, there's proof that this species lasts for, longer than we've been alive type thing. Like, that makes sense now because God didn't destroy that. They were destroyed from the earth. Only Noah and those who were with him in the ark remained alive. And the waters prevailed on the earth 150 days. I think I'm going to stop for chapter 8 and have that for, I would love to keep going. But I have let me show you guys. Okay, so because I'm, super transparent, I have trouble staying focused and reading the Bible, although today, loved it. I loved the drama, loved the intensity. Sad for the animals, obviously, because, they had to die. I digress. I have trouble focusing on pretty much anything, even like finishing off a sentence and a topic. I jump from topic to topic, but I knew I wanted to dive into the Bible, and I knew that I needed help. And I just needed a guideline, because even starting from the beginning, for me, it was just like, okay, and then what, So I got this study Bible, and there's 2 of them, and it's broken up. I don't know where the second one is. Probably somewhere where I had this one. But there's 2 of them. There's one that's for the Old Testament and one for the New Testament. And I'm obviously starting part 1, Old Testament. Now, I've done chapter 1 to 2 questions from here. And obviously, this is just to help you, start off your journey into the Bible. But yeah, I'm going to stop at chapter 8. I want to go ahead and answer whatever questions that they have here on the study Bible guide. And then, yeah, I think what I'm going to try to do is, if I start becoming unfocused, I have also other study guides, like with different topics that I can do. So we'll see. It starts off with, according to the word, everything up until this point in time was good. It was like heaven on earth, and there was no sickness or death. God was in the midst and in relation with Adam and Eve. Enter the fall. Satan deceived Adam and Eve so that they relied on his word instead of the word of the Father. If they would have realized their identity or obeyed God and walked in truth away from Satan's lie, everything would still be good. What do we learn about Satan in Genesis chapter 3? We learn that he is a really good manipulator, right? He's the father of all lies. There's a reason why they call him the father of all lies. When you're a really, really good liar, you're able to manipulate and get people to do what you want them to do, or have them like a puppet, right? You're able to control them. So that's what I learned about Satan in chapter 3. What curses towards man came out of the fall? What curses towards women came out of the fall and towards men? Let's go ahead and go back to chapter 3. All right, so chapter 3, starting at verse 16, says, to the woman he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In pain you shall bring forth children, and And your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. Curse that came towards women was pain in conception, or childbearing. Verse 17 says, then to Adam he said, because you have heeded the voice of your wife and have eaten from the tree which I commanded you, saying you shall not eat of, cursed is the ground for your sake. And toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of your face you shall eat bread till you return to the ground. For out of it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you shall return. If I'm being completely honest, I don't fully understand. So for man, curses the ground that they walk. Right? Curses the ground for your sakes. And toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life. So I'm guessing like it just means you're gonna have to really work. I don't really know. Gotta Google that. Or ask my pastor. We'll figure this out. Mind you, I found out just today, I had to Google this because I was wondering, because in chapter 3 verse 24 it says, he drove out the man and he placed cherubim at the east of the Garden of Eden, and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way to the truth of life. I looked up what cherubim is. Cherubim. And all I gotta say is like God has some really fierce looking things. Even angels, like, we always have like this mentality like, oh, angels like the white gown, the halo, and the like the wings, and we have it in human form, right? But when you figure out or you find out what angels actually look like, and supposedly a cherubim, it's like a mixture of like some type, it's like a creature of something like mixture. Like it has a different type of things mixed in one. I think of like some type of fantasy type thing, right? And I think that's just so cool. I think that is so awesome, the fact that God doesn't have like these little light, polite things, like he has fierce things guarding what he needs to guard and what he, and people on his team. I think that's awesome. It's really cool. But yeah, we're gonna come back to this part, the curses towards men and women. So I need more clarity on that. Okay. In order to cover the shame of Adam and Eve, blood was shed on their behalf, and God clothed them with animal skin. How does that compare to Jesus' blood shed in the New Testament? Ooh. So in my opinion, I think I'm going to talk some things out versus write them down, because this is a really good question. How do we think that the blood shed to clothe Adam and Eve can be compared to Jesus' blood shed in the New Testament? Like, we want to think about it like something innocent had to be slain in order to cover humans' mistakes, Like, and by innocent, I mean like an animal. Obviously, God clothed them with the skin of an animal, because at that time there was no like clothes like how we wear clothes now. But that's, to me, that's the comparison that I kind of pull from this, is that an animal had to die in order to clothe us, because we didn't know at that time. They didn't know that they were naked. They had no idea, because they didn't have those thoughts. They weren't thinking like that before they sinned. And because of their sin, then they had to be clothed. Then they had to have this new way, like, oh, we can't, because the way you look at me is not going to be, godly type thing, right? And when Jesus died on the cross, he was an innocent man. He did nothing but good on this earth. He did nothing but do things for us on this earth. And yet he had people, like the people who just had hatred towards God, hatred towards Jesus, decided like, oh, because we don't because we don't understand you, or like what your purpose, because we don't know you, because we don't take out the time to sacrifice our flesh, sacrifice what we want to follow you, then we're gonna kill you. That's literally the way that they thought. And he literally died for nothing. Like, the accusations against him were false. He died on the cross because he loves us and because he chose to sacrifice himself so that we can have chance after chance after chance. That's what I got from it. Then comes the classic Sunday school story of Noah's Ark. One thing that confused me before studying the word was that I couldn't believe every single animal fit into the ark. Period. That was really shocking. You got to think about it. It's every single thing on land. That was two of... Oh, I just hit myself. That was two of everything. You couldn't pay me to be with a roach. No. Spider? Tarantula? But in reality, Noah brought in every kind species of animal, not every animal. As long as one of them carried the proper gene pool, various breeds could be created. Oh. Makes sense. Okay. But yeah, I think I learned a good amount today. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I don't know why I wanted to record. I think this also just helps me focus, being able to talk it out loud. If you guys have trouble studying the Bible, don't get discouraged. I am 28, which I just learned, which I'll make a whole separate video on. Because yes, I just learned I was 28. I've been saying I'm 27 all year, and I promised myself I thought that I was 27. But yeah, anyways. It took me this long to even want to really, really dive deep into the word and like really want to try. Because I think I've always I do care about knowing the Bible, but like it's always there. So I like just flip to whatever page, type thing. But I want to know the stories in the Bible. I want to know the behind the scenes stuff. I want to know beyond preachings. I want to know all of it. So sometimes, I think what is Pastor Philip from 2819 Church was like, you guys have to literally break your flesh. And I even right today, before opening up the Bible, it took me all morning. It's been taking me weeks, honestly, if I'm being completely honest. It's been taking me days, weeks, to really discipline myself to sit down and read even a chapter. I was struggling reading chapter 1 and 2. That took me a couple of days, which is sad, but it's true. And I always said that I'm going to be transparent and vulnerable. And obviously, no matter how I look. But I want you guys to see the real me. I want you guys to see like the real journey it takes, for anyone, And just continue to encourage yourselves to dive deep into God's word and to break your flesh, sacrifice your flesh. Your fleshy desires, what you would prefer to just sit around and, watch TV or just scroll through TikTok, scroll through whatever social media apps, and dive deep into the word of God. Because God, he will reach you even inside the Bible. I mean, the Bible is literally his words. Like, he is speaking in here. We just got to open up and dive in. And it's hard, absolutely, but we can do it. So I can encourage you guys to keep going and to keep trying. Have a great rest of your guys' day.